Hey YouTube, it's Faye, back in my Toyota uniform because I really need to do frickin' laundry. Whoop, there's a chicken somewhere behind. And also back in this 2009 Tacoma that so many of y'all really like and have been requesting more videos about. Problem is that this one doesn't have a lot wrong with it, so it's hard to do stuff to, you know, truck, there's nothing wrong with it. But however, there are a couple things that the customer has been concerned about that I'm going to be tackling today, and maybe I'm going to split it up into 3 different videos. I haven't really made up my mind yet. But the first one, I was trying to get it to replicate, and it's like over 100 degrees right now, so I can't quite replicate it, but you know, it's a Texas summer now, and it's not going to get much cooler. So I'm just going to go for the tutorial anyways. And this is a pretty common issue, not just on the Tacoma, but the Tundra, all of them, and that is all the automatics, and that is that you got the center console right about here, and then you've got this awesome cup holder, and then you have the shifter, and you know, you're driving along some nice Texas highway, and everything's going great. You got your coffee in your cup holder. Maybe it's a little too hot, so you took your lid off, and then some comes and cuts you off or decides to brake check you, and then your coffee spills into your gear selector assembly. Fan-frickin-tastic. You don't really notice anything wrong right away. You try to, like, you know, grab your napkins and like try to clean it up. However, as soon as that liquid you know, dries up and leaves behind just your cream and sugar residue, then all of a sudden you have a situation where you're not actually able to get your gear shifter back in park. Why the heck is this? There's a couple different layers of plastic that have to sort of slide around together in order for the gear selector to move and also keep you from dropping larger things down into there. I'll show you when once I take it all apart, so it'll start to make more sense. But basically, once you get anything sticky in there and those layers stick together, then it'll keep you from moving the gear selector into where it's gotta go. So that's one thing I'm gonna do today. The other thing is this auxiliary port is broken. This happens a lot on these, and I'm not sure why, and I haven't been able to find a super good, reliable aftermarket, so I do get this one from the dealership, and you can take them out and actually sometimes fix or solder them. The customer did try to fix this one, ended up making it worse, so now it doesn't work at all, so the auxiliary port right here. Lastly, this is the base model. I don't think you can get more base model than this, aside from maybe if we had crank windows in here, but and so it has no fog lights. So I'm going to be tackling some really simple fog light wiring just to show you how to get that done. We've got some basic fog lights that were just super cheap off of Amazon on there right now. However, we don't have a fog light switch, so I'm going to be doing that as well. I think that what I'll do is I'll break this up into 3 different video tutorials so that whoever wants just one of them doesn't have to like sort through a super long video. So that being said, I'm going to hop right into it and just show you how to take apart the shifter, clean it, put it back together if you happen to spill your coffee or soft drink into your gear selector assembly situation right here, and stick those covers together. So without further ado, that was a super long introduction, Faye. Here goes. And clearing out all this change. I don't know. Okay, now you can just pry this up gently by hand. There we go. I did, however, bring over some of my plastic pry tools to get underneath the edges here if I needed them. You can see that it's held in place by just these little plastic clips. So that's literally it, and I'm gonna clean this before I reinstall it. All right, set that down there. And now we're left with just this underneath. And you can already see some of where the stickiness has just chilled out and settled inside here. I've just got a generic household cleaner here that I'm gonna use to clean this off. That way, when I touch it, I'm not gonna get sticky and then just spread the sticky, right? I mean, that's crappy. Next, I'm going to remove the upper piece of the shifter now that it's clean, and I'm going to do so by just pulling up on these little tabs. So there's one, there's the other. There's also the same tabs on the other side. There's one, there's the other, and that's going to allow me to remove this piece. And once again, I'm going to set this aside and clean it more thoroughly. Okay. And now I'm left with the culprits, and the culprits are usually these pieces right here. But once you get a bunch of crap inside of here, these two will just stick together, and that is the issue. So I'm gonna now clean this piece really well. And hey, while I'm in here, I'm gonna upgrade this to an LED bulb, because why the heck not? check that out. I was able to find one that has a little dome on it like that, so I can swap over that little orange thing if needed. Don't forget that with any LEDs, you're gonna have to install it with the key on, lights on, because these are directional. So I'm gonna put this in, and that's not the way. So flip it around. Ooh, and that's the way. Here's my little orange sock. Go on there. Okay, now it's still orange. Now you can see I've got this cleaned pretty well, and you can actually pop this piece off. See how it's designed to pop off? It's got those 3 little marks in there. So what I'm actually gonna do is apply just a little bit of lube in there. Oh my God, the cicadas! And look, I love this. Toyota makes it so easy for everything, so I know even which way to install it in case I forgot. So now what I'm gonna do before I put this all back together is I'm gonna clean this whole area out, and you can either do that with a rag or compressed air. For the lube, I'm just using a little bit of super generic Siliglide on there. That's excessive, but I'm doing this with one hand, so just a tiny, tiny little bit, honestly. Like that is enough for sure. Oh, and air compressor shut off, so. Whee! You actually don't want to put too much on there, because if I was to take all of that and put it on there, then it would just sort of collect more crap in there. So I want just enough that it'll sort of move inside of here, but not enough that I can see it on the front. I have to clean that off a little bit. It got a little excessive, but you get the idea. Okay, and now I'm just gonna reassemble, and just like you hear me say so often, installation is just the reverse of removal. So here we go, here's this, and we can see that we've got our in, so I'll be able to put it just like this and face it this way. Next I've got this piece. Line it up and put it back into place. Okay, there we go. I'm not a professional detailer, but that looks pretty nice. All right, so we're just gonna put that back into place like so. And, of course, get that in place. And, well, since I'm on a roll, I guess I'll just clean the coffee off of this as well. And now, of course, last but not least, let's just make sure that everything works. Okay. Oh yeah, totally. I'm really stoked because it's really right here that you notice not being able to get it back into park, and sometimes you'll actually like get it stuck here. So what a huge improvement. And let's turn those lights on and see. Ooh, okay, now it's dark enough out. Ooh, like that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to tackle on this Tacoma is our fog light wiring. Now, I already installed the fog lights. It was so easy. Literally, you pushed out the old panels and put in the fog lights, and they just pushed right into place, and that was it. The only thing we had to do was adjust them, but I haven't been able to adjust them yet because, well, they haven't turned on yet because we don't have a switch. So I went ahead and got the factory switch from Toyota. You're probably like, Faye, if you got these cheap lights on Amazon, why'd you ball out for the switch? Good question. So here's the reason why. After I started installing the fog lights and I ran the really nice wiring harness that came with them, I was going to plug in the connector from the aftermarket harness, and I look up and there's this other little piece of wiring harness hanging down from inside the engine compartment of the truck. I'm like, you know, these connectors look really freaking similar. And that's when I realized, wait a second, Faye, even though this is the base model and doesn't come with fog lights, it has the harness still in place for the fog lights. And so much so that when I took this all apart to install another light switch, I realized that, oh my gosh, it even has the factory wiring harness and connector all the way up here for the switch. So I might as well just do it as OEM as possible. So once again, here's the switch. There's the part number. And for those of you who watched my instrument cluster removal video, you already have seen me remove all the stuff in order to get to the switches. But I'm just gonna do it again anyway and show you in this video, because why the heck not? Trailer brake unit, I'm gonna set aside. And I'm gonna go ahead and remove all the trim pieces with this special tool. Got my iced tea. so I don't overheat. Hopefully my phone doesn't overheat. It's been a problem lately. So I'm gonna start by pulling up this trim piece. Actually, it's easier to start from inside. And then I'm gonna remove this trim piece, which you cannot get this piece off unless you remove the footrest here. And that just pulls right off as well. Then there's a little thumb screw inside. Now I can remove this piece by just pulling forward. I did not do this. This is for that weird trailer brake assembly. All right. And so from here, we've got some 10mm bolts. There's a 10mm bolt here. And then over here, hidden behind this little panel, find another 10mm bolt. So I'm going to undo both of those. And then I'm also going to pull off this panel right here, which houses some stuff. Let's make sure the customer doesn't have any stuff in there. Nope. That just pulls right out like so, with some clips on the back. So you're pulling these forward. I'm not sure if you can tell with my hand gestures. And then once you get this down, that's really all you need to do, because now we can see that from here we can remove these blanks or remove this blank. And it's completely up to which one you want to do. What we're gonna find though is that somewhere up in here, I just pulled it, it's just hiding up in there. This is the factory fog light wiring. So I'll be putting that into my switch. And since it's up here, and since we already have a little light thing up here, I think I'll just remove this blank and put it, in one of those. Now, if you don't have little teeny tiny fingers like me, I can actually get them up in there and pop this out. But I'm assuming that not everyone is gonna have size XS glove hands, extra small hands for extra small gloves. Anyway, you can just pull this forward and that will give you access to these a lot easier. Wow! All right, so I popped out this blank and I'm going to encourage the customer to keep this. Don't lose it, because you never know if you want to get rid of something else. And I'm just going to first of all double check, make sure that this does fit. Yep, it's the right one. Beautiful. There's a bunch more random connectors back here. That gets me excited. I wonder what else we could wire in here. Good Lord, stay on task, Faye. Okay, the next thing is to pop the hood. Just down here. And let's see how long my phone lasts until it decides to overheat again. Check this out, I got a little umbrella for it since it keeps on overheating and then I can't do anything. Okay, so here I am in the front of the Tacoma, and here are the super nice lights that have never worked because, well, haven't wired them up yet. So here we go. Here is the factory little cover, and what's really cool is they say on the back of them, R or L for right and left. Thank you, Toyota, for making everything so easy. But these literally are just held in by two little tabs. See, one there on the top and one there on the bottom. And right there and right there. You literally just stick your hand behind, pound them out, and there they go. Okay, so I'll show you underneath. Here's the back of the fog light installed, and this is the aftermarket harness, and it's actually a really nice harness. But like I was saying, when I looked at this, I was like, wait a second, that looks exactly like this, which is on their factory, and you can see that there's a little bit of buildup on there. There's a little bit of corrosion. This connector has definitely seen better days, but I'm just gonna go ahead and clean it out and plug it into my fog light assembly here, and we'll see what we can do. To clean the connectors, I'm just gonna spray in a little bit of this electronic cleaner and brush off a little bit of that corrosion with a bristle brush, just very, very, very lightly. And then lastly, I'm gonna put some dielectric grease on there just to keep any further corrosion from happening. And I'm gonna need two hands for this, so I'm not gonna film it, but you get the idea. And now I'm just gonna do the exact same thing to the other side. This was just zip tied with some factory zip ties up like so. So it's pretty easy to see I don't know why I didn't notice it earlier, but whatever. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean it and install it on the back of my fog light. All right, so now we got that one all hooked up as well. So now there's only 2 more things missing from our fog light circuit to make it complete and have our fog lights turn on, and that is the relay and the fuse. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop the hood here. And just take a peek under our fuse box. Okay, so this is a good sign. We see that there is a fuse, that second one right there, front fog, and it's a 15 amp. Well, that's lucky. And that corresponds to this empty spot right here. So just go ahead and insert this spare fuse. That takes care of that. And then for the relay right here, front fog relay, and that is in between 2 blanks and then our EFI. So let's take a peek. That's gotta be this one right here. So I will go get a relay and install that. I got one just laying around, lucky me. All right, now the moment of truth to see if it works. Fog light, engage. All right, woo! Task number 2 complete. Also, I should add, you can literally get the relay anywhere. This is just from O'Reilly Auto Parts. There it is. That's it. Or you can get it from the dealer. Oh, hi, chicken. Oh, hi. What's going on? Hi. Oh, your face is so dirty. Your face is so dirty. Oh, you're so dirty. All right, and while I have everything still apart, next I'm gonna tackle this auxiliary port. And I did already verify that it was bad. I can't show you because I had to plug in my phone to do it. The little input. So what I'm gonna do first is remove all this stuff, get that out of my way, and then just start with the same as before to get to the shifter. And then I've got my number 2 Phillips here, and I'm just going to disconnect the front and the rear section because I'm just going to be separating this part to get up in there. And you can actually see the customer tried themselves. There's some little signs there of someone trying to pull this out, and I guess they were successful, but I'm going to do it this way and show you how to do it this way to prevent any of those pry marks on your panel here in case it bothers you. Then next, removing these little shifter screws that hold the gear selector into place. I just got my little 90-degree pick here, and I'm gonna lift up on the carpet gently, pull it out, and then you just remove those 2 10mm bolts and it'll come right out. Next, I'm gonna pull the cup holder out, and this piece just comes right out. It just slides, makes it easy to clean. Woo! I think I'm gonna clean that for the customer. And then this piece comes out, and I just like squeeze. And if you squeeze, you can get your hand underneath there, and then that will come up like so. Ooh, we're almost there. Now I'm gonna have to separate these 2 pieces. You see how this piece comes up, and then there's that little tab? I'm gonna have to separate it there so that this can come out and back, and then we should be able to access underneath here to get to our auxiliary. So here we go. One screw here on the other side. And now this piece is free. And from here, you can go a lot further to remove this whole panel, but I don't want to because this is enough clearance for me, and even a much larger hand, honestly, to get back in here and pop this out from the back. So and there it is. So I'm just gonna gently disconnect our old broken auxiliary input And here's my new one. There's the part number. Once again, I got it from Toyota because I cannot find a good aftermarket equivalent. So there we go. I'm gonna plug it right on in. And before I put this all back together though, I'm gonna make sure that this thing works. Of course, I can't do it and show ya because I'm gonna have to do it with my phone, but I'll give this a shot before I put everything back together. And installation is just the reverse of removal, so just follow those steps backwards. But one thing I'll point out when you're installing this large piece of plastic here is that you see these little feet? These little feet are gonna go into these right here. So you really do have to slide it forward, sort of all in one nice, easy swoop. So I will show you how to do that. I don't need this now. So I'm gonna gently line up obviously getting this little piece over the shifter. Just so paying so much attention to lining up the feet. Okay, so there we go. That's that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you found it helpful, and if you did, well then great, let me know in the comments below so I can be like, yay, good for you. I will see you in my next video, probably also about this Tacoma. All right, see you next time. Bye.